not Starbucks, but whatever coffee shop, and you get your double fucking latte that is a gallon. You're like, and you meet someone. You meet someone that you know somehow by face, and you as a Finn are like, I don't know that person. I hate. But the other one will be like, hey, you're the guy with the one night stand game thing. Or, you know, I have this contact who happens to be a lawyer who is looking into this, and he has this thing, and you know, are you interested?
Yes.
And what was the thing that you were doing again?
One night game.
This is what they do. You start your day, you wake up, you go to the hotel reception, you're like, well, oh my God, today is a good day to sell another dentitube. What? And the receptionist, you say, well, dentitube is a thing that enables you to gather this pool of knowledge and everybody knows you how to fix your teeth at a lower cost and a better quality. Oh, that's good. My dentist really sucks. Your dentitube really sounds good. And then there's a guy who comes later that day, he's like, I flew in from Chicago for this meeting and it really aches my tooth. I hate dentists. Oh, but there's this company called Dentitube. They're from this weird land. So everybody's chitting-chatting and exchanging information. In Finland, someday I will change the world. If I only get financing, you know, I will. That's why we, the new generation, this generation of Baltic entrepreneurs, are about exchanging information. We need to know what others are doing. Okay? You like war stories, or do you want exercise? Do you want practice or war stories? What do you want? Exercise. Oh, you can do push-ups. Push-ups. Exercise, push-ups. Ah, man. How much money did Steve Jobs make during the first 25 years of his Apple career?
10K?
Not much.
1 million.
Well, if it would have been what happens is you take your lives. You guys remember these now?
Yeah.
When you wake up in the middle of the night and somebody asks you, what are you doing, to whom, and why, and how, and when? Why and when? Why and when? Shit. Don't laugh. What? Are you guys married?
Yes.
Is there a single woman? I can try to being a homosexual. I've really never tried sex with a man, but you know, would it be like, do you think like we could, you know?
Someday, somehow.
The timing wasn't right. So, it's pretty much about timing.
Maybe the why wasn't right either.
I couldn't motivate you. So timing is something that you have to learn. Hey, what? You have to learn about time. There's a time. Ask the question: are you willing to sign? Do you want to sign the deal? Are we done? How do we move forward? And you need to ask the question very clearly and very precisely. And once the guy says, what is the best answer if you ask for a deal? What is the best answer? A startup guy or a startup person? Can I get, what is the best?
Yes.
No.
Now!
No! Please God. When you go to the customer, when you go to the prospect, you don't know what you're selling. You're totally uncertain. You're like doing fucking cloud business development. May have a solution if it works. Do you want to buy this?
No.
No, say yes.
Yes.
Oh fuck, what are we going to do? And then you come to the hotel room, you're like, yes, I went to the customer and I had this thing, and then yes, it was the slide deck, and then he asked me a few questions, and then he said yes. So we have a deal. Oh, you're asking me what? I think it's the thing that was in the slideshow. But I can't go to the customer and say, I don't know what we're selling. So the best answer is in fact a no. And then you ask, why not? And the guy typically gives you a couple of good reasons, why not? And then you ask him, if we would, as you're saying that this dental tube hasn't been clinically tested or approved, I don't know whether that needs to be done, if we pass the clinical testing with the FDA, for example, would that be sufficient for you to place the first order? Yeah. Does that mean that if we would, as we're moving forward with the project, if we sign an LOI with you, would you be willing to do that? No. So, do you really think that it would be good for you to be, as a pilot customer or pilot prospect, to be involved in that project? No. So all of a sudden, you have made them, after saying no, you have made them a part of your team. Because they are committed to building your what you have. You got them on your side. But if they say, and the worst answer was, they're fucked. Because they are the guys who will follow you in the middle of the night. You have promised me this solution by tomorrow at 8 o'clock, German time. And I have the board meeting and you haven't yet been able to deliver the documentation in the German language. And you're like, yeah, Dr. Müller, yes, yeah. Don't want to go there. I've been there. You don't want to go there. Okay? So, yes is a bad answer. No is a good answer. If you know when no is a good answer. Yeah. Now, amidst all of this very esoteric and fun practicing, what is the thing that most startups don't do?
Sell.
What was that?
Sell.
How do you sell?
Not like you.
What do you?
Talk to the customer.
You talk to the customer.
Listen to the customer.
Ask questions.
From the customer.
From the customer.
From the prospective customer. How many of you have you've been here now for
2 days.
3, 4 days.
yeah. How many have have an idea of a person's name and a phone number to whom you're going to call today in the afternoon? Are you going to do that? Everybody should call. Everybody should call. These guys, the shit wall guys, I love it. I told these guys, the very fucking first time I saw this thing, I said, guys, you're full of crap. They said, no, the wall is full of crap. But I told them that, I asked them, I want to buy one for myself. How much is it? And the guys were like, we can make a special price for you, it's 1,500 euros. But it's probably going to be like 3,000. So I was like, you have to go, either you want to go the Bang & Olufsen way, like 5,000, 10,000 euros, or then you go the IKEA way, 100 euros. But you can't go the Ford way. Yeah. Ford, Mondial. Who buys, now, let's say, you'd have 55,000 euros in your pocket and you would be buying for a car. Who would buy a Ford Mondeo ST220 with all the extras, plus a big wing on top of, carbon fiber? Who would do that? Nobody. But if you had, so you want to go for something premium, So the guys here who built the ship wall, I told them, call the Finnish internal designers, architects, whatever, you know, union, whatever, and call 50 guys and ask, how much, do you have any customers who would be willing to pay 1,000 euros, 500 euros, or 3,000 or 5,000 euros for a wall like this? The guys were like, why should we do that? Yeah, every time I've seen them, I've asked them, have you called the guy? Because I have to talk to people. So what they've done is, they have this beautiful product, but they don't know, and they even have the target customer, but they don't know how to get there. Same goes for every sales process. You need to go and ask your way, and look for no's. Because by no, you define the target group far more precisely than by maybes or yes or okay? The reasons for success in sales the reasons for success in sales are
Listening,
Questioning,
asking questions,
get money.
selling, contacting the persons, calling.
Offering value.
Yeah. Go.
don't go there with the customers, you know, you're fucked. You may have a deal machine or you may have a no machine. I have a friend, Pekka Sinervo. Pekka Sinervo, who is a 55-year-old guy who's been selling for his profession for the last 35 years. He's a salesman. He's the kind of guy who says, your product is such, and then he takes the white pages, yellow pages, whatever pages, and he comes up with puts them in Excel sheet, and then he starts calling. He's like, tässä on Pekka Sinervo täältä jo, niin aha selvä, milloin sopii, että soitan uudestaan? It's the next number. Keeps on calling, he keeps on calling, he keeps on calling, he keeps on calling, he goes to the people, he spreads the message, he pitches, he goes there, and he sells. Whatever the product the guy sells, because he goes there. Whatever the product, people have to sell it. Why did Google succeed?
Because of simplicity.
Where did Google go?
Investor.
To the internet.
Google went into the browser. Okay. What happened to Alta Vista? What happened to Yahoo's and whatever those?
No that money.
The best one was the Hotbot. What did Google do? Google went to the browser. Google went to the browser by delivering the best results instructions. They were the fastest, they were the best, so people started using it. Nobody asked for a business model. The investors asked, but users were just happy to use Google. Nowadays, people are afraid to use Google. Where did Google fail? So Google went to everybody. But where does Google fail today? Why do I dare to tell you that Google is going to be their stock value, the value of the company is going to be 1/10 of today's value in 5 years' time?
Social.
What? Google, and this is I like Google. I love the company. I have good friends who work for Google. Debup, you're buying companies for Google. Buy my company, and I won't be talking this shit here on the street. Now, Google's business model is based on advertising that is displayed while
searching, emailing, anything.
So Google puts people to search. Going back to the old Apple ages, I've done a lot of coaching and I've worked together with Apple Computer on now 80s, 90s, 2000, on 4 decades. I know guys pretty well. And there was a time when Apple and Windows had this conflict of licensing and patenting and all that, user interfaces in the late 80s, early 90s. And there was a difference in metaphors. Apple wants users to find, Microsoft put the people to search. If you look at Windows, it says search. If you look at Apple, Mac OS, it says find. So Google is the search company. If Google in fact delivered why people bought them in the first place, they were faster, they were better, they made people search less, they were fine. So for Google to succeed in the future and remain a success, they need to transform themselves from search company to find company, simultaneously dramatically cutting down the time people will spend on the pages where Google can sell advertising. Period. They fail. Okay. Selling is about
Going there.
how do you go there?
Meetings, callings, phone,
Take a
walk.
cab.
Walk. Who is a digital internet kind of
Skype.
no, of these guys, of you guys, who is planning on selling your product on the internet? Good. That guy is clever. He dares to speak out his mind. Nice. You're not finished.
We also use established channels in the internet. So
Established
ones that-
channels on the internet.
Yeah, ones that already have customers.
We can actually use the dentists who are already in the system to earn some more usage time or whatever by inviting other dentists to this solution. So the more people they get in, the more they benefit from it.
Good. Should have taken 3 hours. On the internet, how do you make people find you? Was a question that Amazon posed to themselves when they were young, small company. This is a story you've heard. The Amazon guy with the blah blah blah. Don't remember? Okay. I'll repeat. Amazon was a small startup who had something that was referred to as some sort of a mathematic formula algorithm that was revolutionary. At that time, a company called AOL. AOL was the world's biggest producer of CDs. What AOL did was they printed CDs and sent them through mail, put them in the middle of magazines, and everybody was using America Online. And everybody was putting the America Online CDs into the PCs to get on the internet. Amazon was one of the many companies who were doing web sales machines, web shops. AOL had heard of Amazon having this algorithm. They had heard that Amazon had an algorithm that enabled someone to find information, relations somehow, and they didn't know what they were supposed to do. But AOL had heard, and AOL flew with their corporate jet, the guys in the black suits, and came to Amazon and said, you have this algorithm. Yeah, we would like to use that algorithm. We would like to use the algorithm to analyze our customers by using that algorithm. Amazon was like, are these guys for real? Yeah, it's expensive. They all said, well, we got gazillions of money, no problem. Amazon said, there's two ways we can do it. The first part is you pay us $1 million and we analyze it for you and deliver the information on a floppy disk or CD. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. That's a hell of a lot of money. That's a bit steep. Okay. And they had a German chief scientist. The guy was like, we do a Java suggestion. So he said, we can give you this project for $500,000 US dollars if you give us the right to use all the information about all the users of the American Online. 500,000. What can they do? Well, they're a small company. They can't compete with us. No. Let's give them the fucking users. Let's give them the fucking users. So they signed a deal. So AOL, in their fucking stupidity, went and gave all of their customers to Amazon. And all of a sudden, and remember, they were the fucking biggest distributor of CDs on the planet. So Amazon all of a sudden had this much customers, and they were by far the biggest website. Now, this is what really happened at Amazon. This is no joke. The guy at Slush, he was there last year, the German chief scientist, he told the story. But if you listen to the guys who are nowadays running and have started Amazon, they say, well, we decided that we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and then we went, and then we did. Because the stories that people tell are not the stories how they happen. They got damn lucky. But they got damn lucky because of a reason. They had told about their shit to someone who had told to someone. And the someone had told to someone, and the someone said, oh, I know these guys with this algorithm. What? Algorithm? Oh, was it good? Was it French? Was it Italian? What vintage? No, algorithm, you can't drink it. Oh. And that's how Amazon is. How on earth is it possible that in many countries there are people who have more luck than we in Finland? Because probably we don't go there. We don't tell people what we're doing. I know this dentatube thing now. I'm going to talk about this. And I'm going to ask my stick tech friends who have invested in something. I'll ask, as you know stick tech? They have a patented thing, a method of putting in Turku, financed by our capital. Stick tech, they have been doing shit like that for the last 10 years, going to the dentists globally. They have a couple of patents. So at least they have good knowledge on how to move forward.
Say it again.
Stick tech.
Probably the Peppernos is the dentist.
Yeah.
We are not the dentist.
Yeah. But go to people who've been there. Ask them. Tell them what you're doing. And take whatever shit that, you get from them and then sort of like look at it and sort of like re-ask and rephrase and go and ask. Because if you don't go there through friends, you ain't gonna get there. Okay? Make friends, make them know what you do, go there, go after them, look after them, and somehow, somewhere down the line, somebody will come to you and say, no, and you will ask, why not, and he will give you a response, and you will be able to deliver. Okay? That is pitching. That is value prop. That is the thing I hated. I hated value proposition. I didn't have a clue what value prop was. To be able to put your essence, your soul into one or two sentences and give that to someone for them to think about. Okay? Do you understand the necessity of this? Do you understand the necessity of going to customers? Talking to customers? And do you understand that if you're going to the internet, try to sell your service on the internet, you're fucked? Because there's always going to be someone who has more money. There's always going to be someone who is wealthier. There's always going to be someone who is sexier, and there's always going to be someone who is richer, and there's always going to be someone who has more power, and someone who is more connected, and there's always, and you know what? Forget about the others. about the others. Focus on the thing that you're doing. And ask. Ask your friends, ask your mother, ask your girlfriend, ask your boyfriend, ask your... I like this. And practice. I must say that the quality of the pitches, it was surprisingly good. I didn't have to give you that much crap. And Juha was sitting here, so I couldn't give that much crap as I gave during the summer of startup session. But practice. Go and watch how actors perform. Actors, real actors. Listen to how people speak. There was one thing that Mikko Puhakka, who knows Mikko Puhakka? Mikko Puhakka is my childhood friend. He's He's probably the best guy about open source business models on the planet. He was one of the original investors in MySQL. He did research for 5 years, you know. He's like, the Chinese guys gave him a fucking Chinese name because he is so good. Now, Mikko Puhakka has to go and perform. He speaks like that, and he's like, well, when you look at the open source business development, then it's probably... And somebody told him, Mikko, otherwise good, but I didn't hear a goddamn thing you said. So he goes to this actor and he's like, what should I do differently? And the actor says, dog! There's one thing in Finland that you foreigners probably don't. Who has played hockey? Who has played ice hockey? Who has done any sports in Finland, like team sports? Yeah, team sports, yeah. In Finland we have this attitude, not reilumeininki, but kaikki pelaa. Okay, kaikki pelaa. What is kaikki pelaa? What is the concept of kaikki pelaa is everybody gets to play just as much. So you have the future Aape Pohjavirta and you have the future Teemu Selänne, and Aape Pohjavirta gets to play just as much as Teemu Selänne. This is good? No. All of you, and don't take, no, take this person. All of you ain't no rock stars. All of you ain't no country singers. All of you shouldn't sell everything you got and buy yourself a nice guitar and go to Nashville. You have to focus on your personal talent. The one thing that you have, the one thing that makes you unique, and use that. If you're not a pitcher, don't go out pitching. Sorry. We're Facebook friends, so it's I think. If you skip me, you know, I won't notice. I got so many. You have to practice and you have to ask, and you gotta go like amongst yourself. Like, am I doing anything wrong, or what am I doing? What am I doing wrong? Because don't wake up in the morning and say, I know what I'm doing. I know how to do it, and I'm gonna succeed. Don't do that. Because you're crap. You're on a. The possibility of you becoming Steve Jobs is this small. It is small. But if you nurture the small thing that is you, your uniqueness, personal uniqueness, and add these things behind your personal, don't go yawning on me. You might have a chance of becoming the world's best you. And if the world's best you goes somewhere and tells what you're doing, then people, persons, will talk to you. And then, regardless of the internet or whatever industry, you have a good chance of getting there. The story of Steve Jobs is an interesting and intriguing story. The guy got kicked out of the company that he founded after they said he was a misfit. And then they rehired him because he was the only guy who could do anything about the company. Now, how much money did he ask when he returned? $1. And his salary even today, is $1. Now, from all of the years when Steve Jobs has worked at Apple, how many years? Say 76, and then 85, then 97. So he had a spree of 9 years, and now he had a spree of 13 years. He's worked at the company for 22 years. What is the biggest achievement that he has done? What is his biggest achievement? What do you think?
Make the customer really happy, make me happy with his devices.
I don't listen to the customer.
He went there and
One weird thing is that Steve Jobs doesn't give a flying fuck about anybody else. He has had a vision. He had a vision that it was a dozen of years when the industry around the thing, the basic idea changed. He has never, ever listened to a customer. He has trusted one person on the planet on doing something that he believes in. He's the worst ego, and I met the guy, and I'm not joking. He is a scary motherfucker. He's got eyes like Adolf Hitler. He's like, like this. And I have friends who have worked with and still work with him closely, and they are afraid of him. They are afraid of the guy. You know why? Because if you are on a mission, as Steve Jobs is, his mission is to make the world digital. It's his mission. It's a pretty big mission. He doesn't have the time or the energy to listen to some mediocre motherfucker coming to him and saying, you should do this and you should do that. He's like, no. And that is why he has succeeded. But you and we, people in the startup phase, we can't be arrogant. We have to be democratic amongst ourselves, and we have to share, and we have to care, and we have to be open and honest. The startup world is pretty much like Finland. Everybody is equal. Everybody is right. Until proven to be wrong, and even after that we have to remember what we learned in the process of judgment, finding out that somebody was wrong. Without Finland, there would not be the internet as it is known today. We, Finns, are in fact very much responsible for creating the internet the way it is today. Regardless whether it's mobile, whether it's whatever. The so-called LAMP stack, Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP, is the stack that is beneath most of the revolutions that we've seen as Web 2.0, Web 1.0, and whatever. We Finns, we should be proud of where we come from. You guys are working in the same hemisphere where Cisco made their... You know the Cisco story? I still have 5 minutes to go. You know the Cisco story? Helsinki University of Technology, TKK. They had an ICT department that was run by crazy people, like Steve Jobs, but even weirder, because they had... Their target was to how do we reach the temperature that is closest to absolute zero, and it was their life's mission. Now, who of you would choose that as your life's mission, that you would follow with passion? Read a book of Olli Lounasto, The Kylmälaboratorio, täällä ei näperellä, you don't play around, täällä ei näperellä, and you know what the guy did? In just a few years' time, he pulled by, everybody in the Soviet Union, and then he built, he got closest to the absolute zero. With absolutely no budget, with just the passion of doing something. So, here at TKK, HUT, whatever, were this group of companies looking at these. They had the TCP/IP, and they had Token Ring, and they had Apple Talk, and then they had, they had all of these kind of protocols, and they had these offices, and they had these landlines, and they were like, and they had these boxes. The boxes were supplied by Cisco. And they had this router, and then they had the bridge, and they had this, and they had that, and they were like, what is this? What is this? We can put this together. They threw away the boxes. The housings they didn't need. So they built the boxes together. Cisco was looking through the Finnish distributor, they were looking at the sales numbers, and they were like, what do these guys do? They're selling back the housings, because what Finns did was they sold back the casing of the router. They sold it back to Cisco and got the chipsets back, and they were like, so they flew in, and they were like, how do you have, in the production type of model of CPO2, we have only one cable going in and one cable coming out. But here you have a box that has 8 cables going in and 12 coming out. And the guys were, well, it is a repeater bridge, and then we do this, we put the chip, look at this, and then we do this, and this was a very good thing, because now we can get everything from this rack to this one box. Cisco was like, Cisco asked, could we please start using that kind of a technology, or the innovation? Oh, no problem. Yes, it's very good. So Cisco flew back, and they were the guys, and this was just when internet was emerging, that the guys started selling boxes when everybody else had routers, bridges, connectors, whatever, separate boxes. Cisco had all-in-one boxes. That is why Cisco became the winner in that space. And you ask anybody from the technical side, from Cisco, of the days in Helsinki and Otaniemi, and they're like, without you, we wouldn't be here. So this is kind of a hub of innovation. Not commercial, but there's lots of stuff has come out of here. And this garage, though you suck as a pitcher, he as a coach is good because he's silent, he's just fighting his fear. I wish you all the best. And I wish you all the luck. But it has nothing to do with luck. It's only hard work. And being humble and hungry makes you the hunter that catches the prey of your own success. Okay? Thank you.